Hey guys, it's Miss Coconut. How are you today? I hope that you are well. I'm feeling awesome. Wanted to speak with you briefly on constructing a sea altar. As many of you know, I spent a considerable amount of time in Jamaica, and I was blessed and privy to many sea rituals where I found some fabulous sea treasures. And we were talking about rules in my group, and I hate rules. I'm an Aquarius. I'm always going against the grain. But there are some understood or implied rules when you go to the sea and you want to take something. The general rule is that you would offer something, okay, in its place. So just be mindful of that. And always you want to be kind to the earth and nature as much as possible. So we don't call our sea goddess that we work with, energy that we work with at the waters that we go to. We don't call it by it. Call him, her, she, it, they by a name, okay? We refer to it as a sea goddess or sea god. Every land has its own body of waters, right? You have oceans and rivers and streams and lakes. They all have their own energy and their own entity that is over them. So this is why we simply say sea god is sea god. This is our tradition. This is the way my teacher taught me. If you do something different, if you're in another spiritual tradition that has a name, awesome, use that. Okay, but for the purpose of this video, sea god. And I'm going to call sea god because that's the statue that I actually have before me. So some items that you want to consider placing on your altar would be a jeweled box because, the lore of treasures being lost at the sea, and the sea is so rich and abundant. It correlates with that theme. I have some watercolored beads here and a little bit of gold and some sparkle. Now, funny thing, I was working with some blue candles and my teacher's like, why are you working with blue? I'm like, oh, it's for the water. He's like, but the water isn't blue. Now, we all know Jamaica has beautiful water, but he's right. When you put it in a container, it is not blue. I'm going to cleanse this altar with some Florida water just to add that sweetness, with the flowers. And, I'm a big fan of using what you have or making your own. So either way would work. But a lot of times when people clear a space, they may want to clear it with like salt or ammonia or something harsher. But in this case, I'm going to use the Florida water just because it is very inviting to the spirits that I want to work with or the energies that I want to work with. Now, if you want to offer something to the sea gods, you would offer molasses. And if you have a statue, you can actually touch a little bit of the molasses to the statue, okay, as a symbolic offering. You can do that. And or you can set it in a bowl. It's kind of up to you. And speaking of bowls, you go to any craft store, dollar store, find these very simply beautiful bowls, and this can hold your water. It can hold a candle in a pinch. It can hold offerings. So I'm going to actually construct an altar, which I will show you in another video, and you'll see how I'm using some very simple bowls to give the look that I want to achieve, because I believe in having a beautiful altar, so I don't want to haphazardly do anything. I think your altar should be as beautiful as the energies that you're trying to honor. Okay, so I'm going to also offer some kaolin powder, which represents spiritual purity. And a lot of the sea energies deal with kaolin. So that's a very popular item to use. And you've probably seen this. People may use it on their face and, write veves with it or draw circles with it. So lots of uses. You can find this all over the place. And like Asia has its own version. Africa has its own. And in America, we just do the best we can and order it online. I don't know where we can find it here. But it's definitely something I would recommend that you have. And you know what? I might add this to my store, actually. Now, when it comes to the items that you're going to place on your altar, you would want to have some incense because incense attracts the gods. And I also am showing you I have white candles and a feather. I found the feather on the beach, so it only makes sense that I would place it on the sea altar. So make the items relatable to the deity that you are honoring. But if it was your ancestors' altar, you would put pictures of them, the deceased loved ones, on the altar. Maybe their favorite foods, something that they owned. Okay, you get it, right? So that's why I'm using the feather in case, because there are seagulls at this beach that we're at. And so it makes sense that I'm going to use this particular feather on the altar. Now, when it comes to colors, I'm just going with a simple white backdrop, but you can use blue because, like I told my teacher, the water may not be blue, but that's what we associate it with. So the intent is half the battle with me. So here's just a few more items I'm showing you. These are things I've collected from the sea travels, during the rituals. And I think white is just crisp and clean and just very calming, which is what you want on this type of altar. Now, if you're working with a darker energy altar, or a hexing altar, something like banishing altar, then, you would, of course, maybe decide to go darker, which I think I've shown that in another video as well. So when I collect things from the sea, I always ask permission. Like I said, I may not like rules. I hate rules, actually, but I do tend to do certain things just because of protocol. So remember, be kind. Always ask permission of the entities that are in the area you are at before you take anything. Many people have been cursed by taking things that did not belong to them. So don't take that lightly. And I did, every time I went, I would find more and more treasures, and my pile started to grow larger and larger, and I was able to bring some of these back with me, and some of them were purchased by other, clients of mine, and so they are now having a direct connection to the energies of that Jamaican sea ritual. So I was very happy that everything came back intact. Nothing was taken or lost, destroyed, or damaged. And some of these things are beautiful. I have no idea like how long they've been in existence. You can see how worn they are. And in fact, this is where I found my hagstone. So I have to make a video about that. I was reading a wonderful book and talked about hagstones, and voila, I found one finally. I only found one though, so I was a little disappointed about that, but still grateful that I was able to find the one. Make sure that you are constantly attending to your altars. So have it in a prominent place. I'm not going to go over where, but most times I would say don't place the altars in the bedroom unless you just have to. Just because of the energy. Your bedroom should be just peaceful and quiet, in my humble opinion. Okay? Now, you also, of course, would want to have a statue that represents your deity. These can get costly, so you would look for the best bargains, or maybe do pictures instead, right? You have those colorful pictures. You can even print those out now, so you don't even have to go somewhere and buy something extravagant. It's really about your effort, your sincerity of heart. So again, I have some sparkle, cups and a little bit of bling, because I think altars should be as beautiful as possible. They can be simple, but they should have a beauty about them. Keep them clean. Make sure weekly you're spending time there to receive your downloads and messages, and to pay your respects to your gods, your goddesses, your deities, your ancestors, as far as you see fit. I hope that I have offered some wisdom today. Let me know below if you have any questions. Maybe you are thinking about constructing an altar and this is going to inspire you now to do so. Comment below. Let me know. Thank you for listening. I appreciate you dearly. And as always, Om Shrim Brazi.